Today is Sunday, the 31st of August. It's become very important to mention dates while recording videos on geopolitics, given the rate at which the world is changing. This morning in Tianjin, during the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperative Organization meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with President Xi Jinping of China. The warm handshakes and the cordiality at display seemed impossible just a few months ago, especially after the incidences at Kalwan. On the other hand, the Trump 2.0 administration was welcomed with warmth in India, given the bonhomie between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump during his first administration. People were very hopeful of Indo-US relations improving under Trump 2.0. But somehow the statements coming out of President Trump's foreign policy advisors and even himself have proved to be a dampener. And it has put the Indo-US relationships under direct strain. This strain is visible. I mean, this was not visible during the past, say, around 25 years. A lot of things have been underlined, especially given the statements coming out of President's advisors, which obviously have his stamp of approval. It is said that diplomacy is the art of impossible, which we all saw this morning in Tianjin. But it can also be felt that if you do not handle your relations cordially and properly, then diplomacy itself becomes impossible. So why is the Trump administration behaving in the manner it is? Why is US so intent on burning bridges with India? Is the world actually changing? And what is India's place in this changing world? Has India's time come? So discuss all this, we have with us Shri Vikram Sood, former Chief of R&AW, author, and one of the foremost strategic philosophers in the world. So let us welcome Shri Vikram Sood. Welcome to Samvad, sir. Sir, what we have been seeing, what started off with Peter Navarro, I mean, he's spouting all sorts of virtually expletives about India. It's not very pleasant to hear, very insulting at times. He, after calling, as if calling India a dead economy, a laundromat, Kremlin's laundromat was not enough. Navarro has now gone ahead and called India the Russia-Ukraine conflict as Modi's war. And even if that was not enough, it is now heard that President Trump will not be traveling to the Quad summit in Delhi. So the break-off seems, I mean, we have stretched it too far. The Americans have stretched it too far, now it seems. Sir, I'm just trying to make sense out of it, because 5 months ago, just before Operation Sindoor, President Trump had come in for a second term. Everything seemed very pleasant. He and Modi ji were on very, very good personal terms. But something happened after Operation Sindoor. And what we are getting is tariff seems to be a subset to the whole, a very bigger set. Now we have this confusion as to how to understand this, sir. I now seek your help to understand all the confusion what is going on.
Well, I must confess, it is all bizarre to me what's going on. And you see, we have quite often presumed amongst ourselves that हमारा India-Pakistan का equation American ने तोड़ दिया है, and that they will not put us in the same basket. And I've always said that the United States is never ever going to give up on Pakistan. So they might play it soft now, they might do it that, and you get carried away and you think it's a great achievement. No. They have never condoned their terrorism, except generally. They've never asked them to stop, they've never penalized them, nothing. And the reaction to Sindoor was at one level amusing, at other level dangerous. because he's not looking for the geopolitics of the whole thing. He's looking at the Nobel Prize by insisting that he made he achieved the India-Pak ceasefire. And I would believe my own leaders and the Foreign Office and or the Ministry of Defense, it wasn't so. We asked the MOD, their DMO to talk to ours. So that's how it worked out. But he's insisting, he also insisted in his conversation with the PM, maine wo karaya hai. Others are also doing it. He was hinting that we should do likewise. And we didn't do it, and I think that's what broke his patience, as it were, with India, and he let loose people like Navarro on us. Is it disturbing you?
No, sir, it's okay.
Background?
It's okay, sir.
So he's let loose these people who don't know anything. But if you listen to sensible people like Jeffrey Sachs or John Mearsheimer and others, they know what's going on. They understand what's going on. And they won't let it, that it's down the drain for them. And they're pushing themselves down. So what do? We go and sit with the Chinese and the Russians and say, right, here we are, mate. It's he who's organized the BRICS importance and revival. And that's how it's going to be in the future.
Sir, is it only the Nobel Prize that the chance is not getting a shot at the Nobel Prize, which he believes? There was this very surreal cabinet meeting where I believe Steve Witkoff was saying that he's the most, ever since the Nobel Prize was instituted, he's the most eligible person to get that Nobel Prize. And all the rest the rest of the cabinet members were clapping, I found it surreal. So is it only about the Nobel Prize? Is it only about the tariffs? Is it only about Operation Sindoor? Is it only about BRICS? Or is it a sum of all these issues?
No, it is, I think, at the back of their mind, the fear that they're losing ground, that people are not paying attention to them. So he's trying to bully his way out, impose, make America great again. But nobody seems to, not many are listening to him. They don't really want this to happen this way. So he's pushing his line that I am the greatest. It's an ego battle to me. Ego battle personified in these tactics, and he's not pushed Israel one bit, right or wrong. He's quite happy when these wars take place. But when other wars take place, then he wants to be the champion. Why doesn't he champion this one? Why only these ones where I think we acted very responsibly in Sindoor. We pulled off before it escalated further, and it gave Pakistan some kind of a face save. But that is because of Trump. The terrorist president is summoned to Washington twice, which is at par with what they did in Syria. They imported that Jolani. Made him president.
He's Al-Shara now. He's changed his name.
And he's a price on his head, and you make him president. Then what else do you want to know about America? Where are your principles that you will defend freedom and democracy? You won't. You only defend yourself. Even in the First World War, they entered very late with their troops. Even in Europe, in the Second World War, they entered very late, 44, when Russia had done most of the mopping up and pushed the Germans back. तब आए थे अपने troops लेके. So this is the way the American leaders have behaved. And it's not just Trump. I think, what is Biden doing for India? What did Obama do? It's a policy that unless you have India in your pocket, it has to be snatched away and put there. And that doesn't seem to be happening, and that's what's worrying.
Sir, when you are at it, sir, my mindset, because you have dealt with these people over a very long period of time, you must have interacted with these Americans, the officials from America. There is a statement by Peter Navarro, as it is, some people are calling him Mr. Bizarro, Peter Bizarro. But I mean, on a serious side, Navarro, he says that India should act like the biggest democracy it claims to be. Now, this biggest democracy, it is as if India has to show to the United States it has a responsibility to behave. The United States wants India to behave. Now, we saw the very same scenes in Lebanon, sir. I'm just digressing a bit, where the ambassador to Turkey, the US ambassador to Turkey, Barak, maybe Tom Barak or somebody, he's not a career diplomat. He is a very close friend of Donald Trump, and they used to deal together in real estate. Now, he was made the ambassador to Turkey. He goes off to Lebanon and calls the journalists, obviously they are not the Americans, the journalists, as animalistic. And he calls them to behave in a civilized manner. Now, I personally found it very offending to hear these statements, as if he owns the place, he's the owner of the place. मेरा दिमाग जा रहा था, sir, are we back to those days of the white man's burden, where the white man has to teach the rest of the world as to how to behave? Is it the American mindset, or am I reading too much into this?
Dekhiye, if you look at the world today, there is a palpable decline in the Western world's power and strength. If Britain and France have to look to IMF for support, obviously there's something wrong with their economies. So they're not the empire anymore. And they're unable to adjust to that. The decline of the West means the rise of somebody else. Plus, there is an old, centuries old maybe, animosity towards Russia among the Europeans, the rest of the Europeans, historically. Their fear of Russia is continuing till today. The Russians haven't attacked anybody except for Ukraine. वो बोल के आए थे, अगर आप ये करोगे तो हम ये करेंगे. That please don't do it. We will not interfere if you don't. So now they've run out of options with Zelensky. He's not able to deliver. The situation is they don't have the troops. Europeans don't have the money, so they'll borrow money from the Americans to buy weapons for Zelensky, and the money then goes back to America. So it's the old game. That's one aspect of the fear of loss of power and strength and control of the world. And the only way they want to be able to do it is to stop others from rising. They made a mistake with China. They thought if China grows and becomes powerful and economically rich, it will become democratic, or at least that was the narrative.
Mm.
The idea was to make money out of it. And they made a lot of money out of outsourcing and offshoring their production. Now it is the other way around. They want to have the production back because they can't just live on social services sector and agriculture. That's the annoyance with us. Because हम कह रहे हैं हम आपको एग्रीकल्चर में कोई कंसेशन नहीं देंगे. We cannot afford it. So they're operating at multiple levels. They want to downsize Russia. They don't want China to rise any further. And they don't want us to rise at all.
Mm.
Because we'll come with the right credentials, world's largest democracy, where elections are held every 5 years. The transfer of power is peaceful, however much we may fight in between. There's never been an election which has been cancelled.
Mm.
Okay. We have one of the freest presses. I have not seen anyone talk so much against the prime minister or the government as we have it here openly. तो हमको वही कैसे कह रहे हैं कि जो आपके पास फ्रीडम ऑफ प्रेस नहीं है. These are narratives that they build themselves and then they want to interfere. When we cancel the licenses, as it were, of so many NGOs in 2016 or 15, because they were operating beyond their charter, उसमें भी इनको बुरा लगा that these people are now asserting themselves and not allowing us to interfere in India. I mean, how did Kudankulam happen for so long? There were NGOs behind that. Narmada Dam, how was it delayed for so long? There were vested interests doing all that. So, and they used to say कि कभी बिजली नहीं पहुंचेगी भुज तक. पहुंच गई ना. पानी पहुंच गया ना, irrigation हो गया ना. So we have to understand that the West is happy with you. West, I mean in a broad sense, I mean primarily the United States is happy with you if you say yes to what they want to do, to what they want to do with you, not just everywhere else. So now he's lost interest in Quad. He's not interested in this anything else. He's now just going to go on in this fashion. He won't come for the Quad meeting. Okay. I don't think we were particularly enthusiastic about it. So, and if it's going to be an allied force, we're not going to do it.
So speaking of,
They think that we should think like them for them. We have learned to think for ourselves. What is good for me? They talk about their interest all the time. It is not in America's interest that we should buy oil from Russia. Oh, it isn't my interest, damn it. I buy it. I buy more if I need. Oh, their refineries are making money out of it. But you taught us the rule of profit. Profit कैसे बनते हैं? How do you organize the system where you make money out of it? So we will learn. We're going to do it. आप तो ले लेंगे उसका वही same oil they are buying processed. America, Europe is buying. That is okay. They're buying material from vital material from Russia. Even now, that's fine. You can't have two rules. Quite simply, the king emperor cannot have two rules.
There was a delegation accompanying President Trump to Alaska where they were discussing energy trade with Russia on the sidelines of the meeting for bringing peace to Ukraine. So and I was talking to Kamal Sibal sir. He said that America itself is built on profiteering. The whole basis of America is profiteering. So how can they object to somebody else making profit out of serving its own interest? It makes profit, so be it. So what is the harm in it? But sir, I'll come to a different question now, sir. I was listening to this conversation between this Richard Wolff, Rick Sanchez, a podcaster, I believe, is talking to Richard Wolff, where he said that when India said no to America, he said that I could sense that the world had changed.
Yeah.
Now I have listened to that part of the conversation n number of times, sir. And then I realized, sir, I do agree with him that history seems to be taking another turn because history has a habit of rolling over after a period of time, sir. So do you see that? I mean, it's not time. I say that history is changing, sir, gradually towards away from the Western world. What are your views on it?
Well, I would go along with that. The decline started many years ago. Many years ago. It was the power of the media that kept the myth alive for longer. When you send your troops as a superpower into Vietnam and they have to run away, when you send your troops to Afghanistan and they have to leave in the middle of the night, in the dead of the night, what does it mean? It means that you are not able to control the destiny. You have 800 bases and more troops outside your country than inside. But what's the result? अब सुना है कि Chinese have given arms, very powerful arms and artillery and sea-bound vehicles to Venezuela.
Okay.
Okay. So, and it is in America's backyard. It violates their own Monroe Doctrine. But the Americans have not said no yet. They could dare it. So these are signs that you're losing power. अब भले ही कहते रहे कि हमने ये कर दिया वो कर दिया. इराक में क्या किया? लिबिया में क्या किया? Where is it they actually won a war after World War II, which was mostly won by the Russians? ये तो बाद में आए थे. They came up for a mopping operation. It is the might of the Soviet army which pushed Hitler back from 41 to 45. ये तो जून 44 में आए थे. So there is, and you know, we don't understand the power of the media, or the control of the media, how you can build perceptions that last for years after you're gone. And changing that. आपके अखबारों में which agency did we, common people in India, read about Ukraine? जो international page आता है, Times of India that I read and other newspapers. It's Reuters. I've said this elsewhere also. Reuters है, CNN है, AFP है, AP है. एक दो articles by PTI or some Indian dispatch, one small one somewhere. 80% is Western American sources. So that's where power is. Money and media. You have, if you got money power, you have to display it. Your military power comes after this. First, you get really wealthy. The Americans did it at a time when nobody else could challenge them. All the Rockefellers and the Henry Fords and the Carnegie in the 19th century. They made their empires, which merged into an American empire. Now we are trying to do it at a time when there is already an empire, maybe it in decline. It is in decline, and the other one has risen quite substantially. And you can't write off Russia just yet. So for us, it is difficult. It's going to be very difficult. It's a difficult road ahead because there will be opposition. There will be opposition, lots of, from friends and foes. And then we have our internal people also. So, but I tell you, if you want to get anywhere, it is now.
No, sir.
If you miss the bus, miss the boat, it won't come back for a long, long time. And
No, sir.
so I think we are on the right track. I have no worries about that. Worries in the sense that it will have to play that much harder. There will be some hardships on the way. They will try and stop it. So American attitude has basically not changed towards us. It has become more demonstrative now in this current period. 71 से देख लीजिए क्या हो रहा है. 65 से देख लीजिए. They either wanted to be the referee or help Pakistan out. So 71 was they actually were going to intervene. And when they sent the 7th Fleet up and we won the war before they could arrive. So you go by the intentions and then discuss the ability to do it. They had the intention, but they didn't have the ability in the sense they couldn't move on time. The fleet. न जाने कहानी क्या कहाँ जाते.
सर एक चीज जो मुझको वरी करती है, what worries me, one of the things, I might be on the wrong track, sir, that the proclivity for regime change, sir. Wherever the regime becomes difficult, they start working on regime changes. We saw that in the past in various places, sir. Even Ukraine is an example in itself. Then they did that in Bangladesh very recently. There are times when I am really worried when I see there are internal disturbances in this country already happening, sir. About the legitimacy of elections, it is already being questioned. It worries me, sir. There is some playbook which maybe inadvertently, I'm not saying that people do it advertently and they do it knowingly, but there's some playbook which starts operating. Does this bit of thing that India standing up for its strategic autonomy with a strong leadership and on the right focus, there could be some sort of mischief which, I mean, God forbid, which might be being planned?
I know it's difficult for me to say yes or no because I don't really know what's going
But
inside.
you have seen the history, sir.
But it seems logical. It seems logical that a superpower would have worked out modules or game planned or war gamed how to deal with A happens or B happens or C happens in India. And they would have this for every country virtually. Political, economic, military. If they are efficient fellows, then they would have got all these things worked out. And then you set that ball rolling. And if you have cancelled so many NGOs and think tanks and asked them to go home, there must have been a reason. There must have been a reason that why they are interfering in our policies. Why would they want to pull us down each time? Who are they? They have not acquired any special rights to come and sit on judgment on me. Who's Amnesty International? Or any of these human rights organizations? अब तो जानते हैं 1990s में जब we were having this huge trouble in Kashmir, when we were being had to deal with massive cases of terror, and our armed forces and our paramilitaries are doing a great job. They are controlling the situation along with the intelligence. We were being given a lot of flack on human rights. Have they ever asked Lashkar-e-Taiba to stop attacking India? Generally, they make out a statement, but that's it. Your guest, Field Marshal, comes to your country and then makes horrendous statements about your other friend, as they might call it. And you say nothing. You don't issue a denial. You don't say, okay, this is not what we intended. We are afraid that this was something he should not have said on our soil. No, he kept quiet. So was he put on to saying that? Did he say it with their approval? To know. They are not going to give up messing around with us. We'll have to be prepared.
True, sir. True. We need to be prepared.
And be together, for God's sake.
I mean, that sounds very easy, but it's very tough for Indians to do that, sir. We prefer to be very volatile and at each other's throat all the time. That has been the history, and that is why maybe we were colonized for such a long period of time by different people, different faiths.
If you have a traffic accident, you have a war on your hands. You know, we're ready to fight each other so easily. That's what they play on. Want to create divisions.
True, sir.
All sorts of divisions.
Sir, would like to, because of the shortage of time, would like to conclude on that part, and because the things are evolving. I mean, we are doing this on a daily basis virtually. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is go on to X and see what President Trump or Mr. Navarro or Mr. X or Y or Z has said. So I'll come back to you with your permission. I'll come back to you very soon and discuss the upcoming events. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.